Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the United States Air Force Test Pilot School Test Course Class 23-2 graduation. I'm Colonel James Valpiani, and I have the honor to serve as the Commandant of the United States Air Force Test Pilot School. My co-hosts this morning will be First Lieutenant Andrew Wang and Major Sergio Martinez, class leader for 23-2. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the singing of the national anthem by Mrs. Julia Powers-Teal and the invocation by Chaplain Jay Clark.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
As I pray today, I invite you to join me in prayerful meditation. God of all power and might, we gather today in celebration of the graduation of the 23-2 class of Space Test Fundamentals. My prayer for each student, each instructor, each leader, is that everyone realizes the benefit of the work that they've done, and that for generations to follow, their work will continually be incorporated into the Space Force and greater Department of Defense mission. As each one proceeds, bless them, Lord, with the satisfaction of a job well done and with confidence in their newly affirmed capabilities. Continue to bless the work of their hand as they commit to continually serve. Amen.
Thank you, Julia, for that beautiful rendition, and Chaplain Clark for helping us put first things first. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Well, good morning. It's my pleasure to start by recognizing a few of our distinguished guests. Please hold your applause until I've had the opportunity to introduce everyone. From the United States Space Force, we're pleased to greet Major General John Olson, Mobilization Assistant to the Chief of Space Operations and Space Force Lead for the Joint All-Domain Command and Control and the Advanced Battle Management System, Headquarters, United States Space Force. We are also pleased to welcome Colonel Michael Christensen, Director of Test and Evaluation, Headquarters, United States Space Force, along with Colonel Sasha Tomlinson, Division Chief for Space Training and Readiness Command Test Enterprise, and Colonel Jay Steingold, Commander of Delta 11. From the 412 Test Wing, we're pleased to welcome Colonel Douglas Wickert, Commander, and from the United States Air Force Test Pilot School, we're pleased to welcome Mr. David Van Hoy, our Technical Director, Dr. Andrew Freeborn, Director of Special Programs and the Space Test Course Director, and Major Stephanie Coward, our Deputy Space Test Course Director. Please join me in a round of applause for our guests. I would also like to extend a warm welcome to the family members, visiting commanders, and friends of Class 23-2 in attendance, and all those who are watching this ceremony virtually. A special thank you to the people who organized this event, the graduation committee from the Test Pilot School, Class 23-2, and the Base Multimedia and Public Affairs team. Please join me in another round of applause. The development of the Space Test Course has been a multi-year effort, and we are excited to continue to evolve the course to meet the United States Space Force's needs to produce adaptive, critical thinking test leaders to conduct full spectrum test and evaluation of space weapon systems. The students have completed a very challenging 5 months, and this morning is the culmination of their efforts. Thank you all for joining us today in person and virtually to recognize their accomplishments. Major Sergio Martinez will now announce the guest speaker for Class 23-2. Sergio, if you'd please join me at the podium.
Thank you, Colonel Valpiani. It is an honor to introduce our guest speaker for today's graduation event. Major General John M. Olson is the Mobilization Assistant to the Chief of Space Operations and Space Force Lead for Joint All-Domain Command and Control and the Advanced Battle Management System. Headquarters, United States Space Force, the Pentagon, Arlington, Virginia. In this position, he assists the Chief of Space Operations with the responsibility to organize, train, and equip space forces, develop and acquire military space systems, and conduct space operations to advance and protect U.S. and allied interests. He also serves on the Office of the Secretary of Defense Operational Energy Innovation Technical Advisory Group and flies as an Airborne Emergency Action Officer on the Looking Glass Airborne Nuclear Command Post, leading strategic deterrence missions. Major General Olson commissioned in 1992 as a graduate of the United States Air Force Academy. He has earned 5 engineering degrees, including 2 bachelor's degrees from the United States Air Force Academy, master's degrees in engineering from the University of Illinois and the University of Tennessee, and a doctorate in systems engineering from Auburn University. He also completed executive education programs at Harvard, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and Stanford. Major General Olson has held numerous air, space, cyber, acquisition, test, weapons, political, military, intelligence, and technology command, staff, and leadership roles at all levels. He is a graduate of the United States Air Force Test Pilot School, a free-fall parachutist, and a former European and Eurasian Foreign Area Officer. He deployed to Southwest Asia, supporting air and space operations for Operations Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan, and New Dawn in Iraq, Odyssey Dawn in Libya, and Joint Task Force Horn of Africa. Major General Olson transitioned to the Air Force Reserve in 2004 after joining NASA, where he served as a senior executive service leader in several civil space leadership roles for nearly a decade, earning the Presidential Rank Award. In his industry capacity, he served as a CEO, president, vice president, and general manager in both public and private corporations for 9 years. Following 25 years of federal service, culminating as the Assistant Director for Space and Aeronautics in the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. Prior to his current position, the general served as the first Chief Data and Artificial Intelligence Officer for the Department of the Air Force, the Pentagon, Arlington, Virginia. Major General Olson, the floor is yours.
Well, it is an absolute pleasure and an honor to be here with you, and there's nothing that could be more important than this event here with you today. And I say that not just tongue-in-cheek, but I skipped a meeting with the Secretary of the Air Force in order to be here because when you get right down to it, people matter most. And so I would just like to say welcome to your graduation. It is a pleasure and honor on behalf of General B. Chance Saltzman, the Chief of Space Operations, the second Chief of Space Operations for the United States Space Force, also the head of the 18th Intelligence Agency for the United States of America, the Space Force. So it is just awesome to be here at the center of the aerospace testing universe. I truly believe that, and you know, this place, for those of you who are visiting for the first time, just breathe it in, smell it, taste it, look it, live it, because this place is of aerospace lore. If you think about the people, the famous firsts that have happened here, it's being part of this long blue and long black line that is so compelling. And so for each one of you in STS 23.2, the burnouts, this is just the beginning of your journey, and we need you. So, you know, you've got some fantastic leaders here represented, And, each one of them, I know you've had a chance to look and observe and watch and listen and learn. I mean, we got Colonel Beaker Wickett. He is what I would consider one of the epitome of the modern communicators, the modern tech communicators, exactly how we need to be to engage with not just our nation, but around the world. We need to win and shape hearts and minds, and so that's a really important part of it. And of course, with the commandant of the Test Pod School, Fangs Valpiani here, it's really important that we see the absolute synergy between space and air and cyber and all of it, because it's all a systems of systems, or a system of systems. So, it's within that context that when we look at our mission for the Space Force, it quite simply is to secure our nation's interests in, from, and to space. That is so simple, but yet so challenging. And really, it's about creating a safe, stable, secure, and sustainable space environment. And what you've learned over the past five or so months here is absolutely critical, but really, in order to create that safe, stable, secure, and sustainable environment, it's about making smart, swift, sustained, strong, and superior results and outcomes. Because there is no E for effort. There's no trophy for participation. It's delivering the outcomes. And so you came in here to the space test course as students. You leave here with a new name. Supremely talented cadre of pros, right? That's what you are. And that's what we need you to be. We need you to be not an army of one, and I know we got an army person here. We absolutely need you to be committed teammates and partners, because this is a cooperate and graduate environment that you're diving into. And I think it's so important. You're here at Edwards. It's kind of funny, as we look at the name of the runway, the three-letter designator is, of course, EDW. And of course, that's the first three letters of the word of the words. But I think there's a really appropriate acronym that's spot on. EDW, really, the essence about that is excellence delivered worldwide. If you look back at this picture, if you look what has been delivered from this Muroc Dry Lake bed, from this school, from this grouping of people, it's absolutely awesome. You're joining that long blue and black line. And yet when we look at the rest of Edwards, it's equally about awesome results delivered swiftly. Because swift, responsive, resilient outcomes are what the world in this moment in history demands of you. It's absolutely essential. And as we talk about the Secretary, I had the opportunity to work for him last year directly as our first Chief Data and AI Officer. And he has, and I was talking with Beaker about this, he has a sign in his office. And it stems from both Deming and President Ronald Reagan. It says, in God we trust, all others bring data. But I think there's, for this place, a little bit extra that we can add, because I think in God and thrust we trust. All others bring data, and it's really about data-driven decisions. But data is worthless by itself. It's turning it into actionable insight, wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, and it's turning that into decision advantage and information advantage. This F-22, and so appropriate, you have 22 members in your class. It's so appropriate to have the YF-22 right here with us. But, as we look at that, this thing and the F-35 and all of our satellites and all of our X-37 and all of our spacecraft, they're all paperweights unless we turn that data that they generated into actionable decision advantage and information advantage. And so, this place is super special for me, and I know it has been for you. I started my journey here on the space side, on the shuttle landing and recovery crew, and you talk about a neat thing, hearing that double sonic boom at the crack of dawn when the sunlight's just breaking over the dry lake here. There's nothing more motivational than that for a young lieutenant. But Certainly, I got to fly 28 aircraft in test pilot school here in that year that we had 83 overall. So, boy, knock on wood, a life well lived. Perhaps maybe I just can't hold the job. But the real truth there is this place, from a space perspective, I was lucky enough to do my last job in the military here. We did the approach and landing test vehicle. I was the first PM for the X-37. What an awesome thing. We won the Collier Trophy, and that's what you can do for the next generation here. Then when after I left the White House and went to civilian industry at Sierra Nevada Corporation, we did our approach and landing test landing here with the Dream Chaser, which is just getting ready to go fly, going to the thermovac chamber. That's what you can do. It doesn't matter whether you're wearing a blue suit, whether you're wearing a brown suit, whether you're wearing a NASA suit, or whether you're wearing a civilian attire. It takes the whole team. It takes that. And as we look at the Space Force, shucks, of our 16,500 people, half are civilian. And of those military, half are officer and half are enlisted. But every single one of them is important because as the first service-born digital, as a super lean service, it's about leveraging technology. It's about leveraging smart solutions. It's about leveraging your minds and creativity and the power of the group and the diversity and the entrepreneurial spirit and the industrial-based capacity of our nation. That is how we compete and win against civil military fusion, against a nexus of very challenging global competitors. When we talk China, when we talk Russia, when we talk Iran plus North Korea, that nexus of global yuck is indeed very, very competent, very, very capable. So we're going to need your best and brightest driving forward. The history of here is strong, but it's time for you to make your own. And so within that context, as we look at the re-optimization within the Department of the Air Force for great power competition, as we look at the operational imperatives, the first three operational imperatives, OI1 is a resilient space order of battle. That's absolutely first for a reason. Second, operationally optimized CJADC2. It's the OV1 and the SV1, and I know what you know those are now. Those lay down all the other operational imperatives. We stitch them together. And the third is MTI, moving target indications. You better believe with the tyranny of distance, MTI, space is the future. Those first three are all space dominant and space related, so it's such a privilege here. And you know, having Thumper Christensen leading our space test side of the house, this is the challenge, DT and OT, to bring our Armada chart in the space side into fruition. But it is a total team sport, and so with that, the future is really bright. But it's not going to be easy. Nobody ever promised life was fair or easy. But you've been given the tools. You've got the team. Now's the time. So with that, I'd like to say one word, and that is on my coin, and that is Audacitor Irae. Boldly go. Let's get her done together. Thank you.
And sir, as a token of appreciation from our class to you, we'd like to present you with a gift.
Oh, thank you very much. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. There you go. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right, it is now time to recognize the top individual student performers. The students of Class 23-2 have worked extremely hard during these few months, with 4 students earning the title of Distinguished Graduate. When your name is called, please stand to be recognized. The distinguished graduates of Class 23-2 are Captain Daniel Getty, Captain Larry Baroker, First Lieutenant Matthew Hutchinson. And Captain Tristan Naranjo. Congratulations to our distinguished graduates. All right, it's now my pleasure to invite Major Martinez back to the podium to deliver his class leader address. The class leader is responsible for leading from within, for being the conduit of information flow between the students and the school leadership. Major Martinez had the privilege of doing all of this while also being a student. Major Martinez, on behalf of your classmates and the entire TPS staff, thank you for all your hard work and leadership. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Colonel Valpiani. Hey, class, we're here. We made it. Today is the day. Today is the day that you get to hear my last speech. None of that, right? You're done with it. But in all seriousness, today is the day we are recognized as graduates of this course. This is the day we get to go back to our families and friends and our old lives. It's the day that we get to go back to our home units. And I see some commanders here very happy with that prospect because they need you back. And over the past few months, the past 5 months, it's been a wild ride. We've got to learn a lot from each other, got to learn some of your quirks and personalities, got to hear some of your complaints, and I got to hopefully help out with some of that, and got to hear some of your heartfelt questions. Some of those questions being, what are my space techniques that I need to bring back? What's going to happen to me when I get back to big Space Force or big DIU, or small DIU, I guess. Or the big one, in some fashion or another, that I heard was, why am I here? And I know for me personally, that's the question I've been reflecting on the most the past few months. I was lucky enough 10 years ago to be stationed at lovely Eglin Air Force Base to enjoy test and also the beach, to enjoy that climate and to be able to see that test is great. But at the same time, I was able to meet my first test pilot school graduate, who provided me mentorship and who, quote, said, man, you need to go to test pilot school. That way you can stay technical, have fun with your job, and avoid the monster that is program management, end quote. And I reflect on that. 10 years later, I got to do some program management time. I like it, so don't crucify me or anything when I leave here. And you know what? Things have changed. That's not my perspective anymore. Going into this class, my perspective was, with our integrated test forces as we were building them up in the Space Force, what can I do to make them successful? But that's a mouthful, and that doesn't translate very well, I think. And so back in August, my family was kind enough to visit me to go stargazing out in Habsburg, California. And on the way out there to the middle of nowhere, with very pretty dark skies, my 5-year-old boy, Horatio, which some of you have met, he's wearing a green shirt if you want to meet him later. He goes up to me, well, he says to me, Poppy, why are you at school? I miss you. Why are you doing this? And man, like, I don't know how many of you have kids, but I feel like when you have a child and they ask you a straightforward question, that really stirs up some emotion, and you're not gonna just make up an answer. And I feel like he deserved one. And I looked at him and I said, Horatio, I want you and your brothers to be safe. I want you to go to bed and sleep safe at night. And I know that as a tester, what I'm doing is I'm testing the capabilities that our warfighters will have. And I know warfighters doesn't make sense, but let's say soldiers out in the field, let's say Marines, let's say airmen, let's say guardians. I want them to have the tools they need to do their job effectively. And Horatio looks at me and he says, Poppy, wow. And he looks at me just like we all look at Captain Dan Getty with just awe. And he's like, Poppy, you must be really smart. You do that? Can you do this all by yourself? And I look at my sweet boy and I say to him, oh, absolutely not. I have a team that works with me, and I'm so lucky in this class because right now I work with a team of people that are probably the smartest people I have ever met. Now, I work with the fabulous Captain Dan Getty, son, and he has taught me some astrodynamics I've never saw in college. I work with some warriors of the electromagnetic spectrum that have taught me how to do practical math and how it all connects to everything. One of them being a space ranger from the Army, an actual space ranger who taught me the basics of decibel math and how it applies. And he taught it very simply, so I'm grateful for that. Now, and beyond that, there's P&T warriors, the men and women that served in two SOPs that taught me how they operate the GPS constellation. And there's one man, my friend Mark's son. Now, you won't believe it, but I don't think I've ever met a human being that asks as many questions as this man. And because of that, I think he's made it so I want to ask more questions. He's made it so I want to look at these problems from a different angle. And then my boy paused, and I could see that his tone changed from one of like, I miss you, to one of happily saying, hey, Poppy, these people sound like good people. I'm happy that you have them. I'm happy that they're your classmates. And he's right. Because I know that in this class, even though I might not have a dedicated book with space test techniques, I know that if I wanted to, I could go and grab Captain Tristan Naranjo, sit him down, and ask him, hey man, electrical optical systems, if I want to just build this up in a software in the loop environment, how do I do that? And he would go on for hours, nonstop. If I wanted to see how I could ask the intelligence community for threat assessments so I could incorporate that into my test early on, I could talk to Captain Smith, and she would do that in a heartbeat. And if I wanted to go and figure out how NASA does anomaly resolution and detection, I could go talk to Mr. Dunn, who would gladly have that talk with me. But before I go on with just the students, we also have fabulous instructors and staff here at TPS who have helped me personally and have helped our class. Some of them, like for some reason or another, have chosen to not enjoy their retired life in, let's say, Maryland or Utah, but have come back to fabulous Edwards Air Force Base to teach the next generation of testers. And for that, I'm grateful. Now, for many of us, it hasn't been easy. For our spouses, our families, and friends at home, we recognize the challenges that you've gone through. I remember sitting next to a certain Lieutenant Schuler explaining to me all of his car problems back home. I remember hearing the struggles of my own family. And the way I see it is that my boys are future testers as well, because for the past 5 months, they've been testing my wife's patience. And now, that being the case, I know that Major Thompson in the back and Captain Wetmore will be going home to their little testers and hopefully giving their wives well-deserved breaks after this, hopefully enjoying watching Bluey and changing diapers. Now, and on a tangent note, I know that some of us will have testers of our own. Captain Wetmore will be welcoming another tester next year, and the Wolfsons in our class will expect their first tester in April. So it's glad to see our community is growing in that way. But all things considered, I know that most of us are wondering what happens after this point. What's next? Some of us will be lucky and be able to go straight into space test jobs. Some of us will be going to the Starfire optical range. Some of us back into the GPS test enterprise. Some of us into the Rapid Capabilities Office, but not all of us. And for that, we'll have to wait our turn to formally be in a space test job, but we will be able to support the Integrated Test Force, that new construct which will be able to merge operational test and developmental test. And I hope that we can be successful in that, because I think what I'm seeing around this room is that every one of us, as students of this class, has a strength that we can leverage. And I believe that as this construct is developed, that I will be able to, either a day from now, I might call Lieutenant San Chan to help ask him how to do cyber testing, or I'll be calling Captain Rogan Shimon to ask him how I can incorporate a new commercial off-the-shelf capability into my test campaign, or I just might be asking Brian Foster, Captain Brian Foster, about space planes and what they do. Maybe not for my test campaign, but maybe just for fun. So we'll see how that goes. But I can depend on you all. And the biggest thing I got from yesterday when we had our outbriefs with all of these senior leaders was whenever we were asked, hey guys, what has been the most important thing that you took out of this space test course? The biggest answer every time was networking. Networking has been key here. I've been able to network with my peers and learn from them the most out of anyone else. And I say that's true, but I also say that I don't think that's the right word. In many ways, I think the word that we wanted to say was brotherhood. I want to say that we started off as strangers, but now we're brothers in many sense. I know that I can depend on everyone here. I know that as in the Space Force, as we're trying to innovate change, that we're going to have to be able to incorporate the warfighter into test early on. We're going to have to be able to merge operations, acquisitions, and test to be successful. And for the past 5 months, I think that's exactly what we've been doing. And I've been proud of each and every one of you. And before I leave you all, I just want to echo the words of United States Air Force retired General, Major General David Super Harris, fights on. And while we go back to our units, I know that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to bring the fights on when we're back in our home units. We're going to have to see what's important to us. For me, it's my family, my 3 little boys. I want to keep them safe. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I know you all have had the chance to reflect on why I'm here and what am I doing and why does it really matter. And as we go on with being graduates, we're gonna have to show the world what we can do. And I know we're not alone. We have each other. And that being said, I don't want to take up more of your time. I know we want to be done with this and go back home. But I'm grateful for you all. Thank you so much. So, 23-2, burnout!
Good morning, everybody.
Ground and sky are clear.
We'll be counting down from 5,
4, 3, 2,
1.
countdown to what appears to be an inevitable government shutdown is on.
Against all odds, Congress found a way to avoid a government shutdown.
The bill is passed, and without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table.
Pizza time.
All right, we're filming.
Hey, how's it going?
Looking sharp. I'm just out of curiosity. When you wear the NASA blue suit, you know, you cool guy looks skyrocket exponentially. Have you considered wearing it 24/7?
Well, I do sleep in it.
You both seem to have a great friendship.
No.
You both.
Stop right there. Mark has a habit of going to the gym. Yep. He usually picks up the bar a few times.
Okay.
And then he leaves.
What did you think about the class?
It was good. It was fantastic. Made some good friends.
I can definitely say it was one of the courses of all time.
Does your mirror get pretty jealous of how cool you look?
It definitely does.
What is a steradian?
It's like a spherical angle thing in the bobber.
Anything you have to say for future students?
Just get after it, you know? Bring your A game every single day.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Back to class.
Good luck.
Get your game on, go play. Hey now, you're a rock star. Get the show on, get paid. And all that glitters is gold. Only shooting stars break the mold.
Please
join me once more in thanking Major Martinez for all of his hard work. The students of STC Class 23-2 come from a diverse background, representing nearly all space warfighting disciplines, from space system operators and engineers to cyber and program management, and ranging in rank from sergeant to major. Their coursework focused on test fundamentals, systems testing, and astronautical sciences, and included an immersive field trip as well as a multi-domain capstone project. The students in Class 23-2 were selectively chosen to be a part of this third year of the space test course at the Test Pilot School. Please join me in a round of applause for the efforts of Class 23-2. And now for the moment we've all been waiting for. We will now graduate the students of Class 23-2. Colonel Wickert and Colonel Valpiani, would you please join me for the presentation of graduate plaques? Graduates, as your name is called, come to the stage to receive your graduate plaque. Captain Joel Atienza. Captain Larry Baroker. First Lieutenant San Chan. Mr. Matthew Dunn. Sergeant Brian Ferguson. Captain Brian Foster. Captain Daniel Getty. Captain Lawrence Hoffman. First Lieutenant Matthew Hutchinson. Major Stephen Cayley.
Thanks so much, sir. Appreciate it. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, sir.
Captain Wagner Moga. Major Daryl Monsalud. Captain Tristan Naranjo. First Lieutenant Jeremy Schuler. Captain Rogan Shimon. Captain Leah Smith. Major Mark Straniere. Major Nicholas Thompson. Captain David Wetmore. First Lieutenant Melody Wolfson. Captain Samuel Wolfson. And your class leader, Major Sergio Martinez. Colonel Wickert and Colonel Valpiani, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's event. On behalf of the graduating class and the Test Pilot School staff, thank you for taking the time to celebrate this momentous occasion with us. Please join me in a final round of applause for our newest group of space test leaders. And the most important words of the entire ceremony, Class 23-2, you are dismissed.